What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Pack Power Postgame Podcast. I'm here with Cory Smith, here with Miles Masercola. Miles, NC State, absolutely, needed a bounce back, win, I felt like. But, it was one of those games where it's like, all right, this one is going to hold up on the resume by the end of the season. It's a very good Clemson team, playing them on the road. The clunker that you had on Saturday, now, I'm not going to say completely forgotten because you still have to kind of, build your resume around the fact that you do have one potential quad 4 loss. But, man, NC State going into Littlejohn Coliseum, the first loss of the ACC slate for Clemson, I believe 9 straight wins for them coming into this thing. So NC State on the road, this was about as big of a win as you could possibly get for NC State. What you needed. Just your thoughts on this one before we really jump into things, man.
I remember looking ahead of January. I was like, dang, they could come out of conference play 6-2 or 7-2. I think it was what it was. I did not anticipate them losing to Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
But obviously the way they bounced back tonight, dealing with adversity both within the game and before the game, obviously with the loss, was a really telling thing for this group. And it was just a great thing to see them have this collective effort for the win. Their stars kind of leading the charge.
Yeah, it's funny because that's exactly what I said after the Georgia Tech game is that, in order to start winning games in the ACC, your stars need to be your stars. Like your guys that you're planning on leaning upon need to be those guys. And Ven-Allen Lubin was absolutely one of those guys tonight. Darrion Williams, not exactly efficient. 5 of 17 overall, needed 17 shots to be able to make 17 finish with 17 points, but 4 of 4 from the line from him. 6 rebounds in this game. It's a decent number for you. 3 assists as well to 0 turnovers. NC State only 7 turnovers as a whole on the game. But we'll talk about turnovers and how that shifted things. I wanted to go through a couple here before we jump in because it's a little different energy than the other day. Jonald saying, "Yeah, go Pack," and then Chung, who made the drive down, is I believe
shout out to Chung.
Yeah, making the drive back up tonight. Said, "Hell yeah, let's go," and said, "Worth the drive down." He said he needs the podcast to go for a couple hours.
So that ain't happening, bro.
Yeah, I got to drive back tonight too. Charlie, who's with me, has to work in the morning at his other job, so we got to get back tonight. So
just listen to it on repeat.
Yep, exactly. Just keep it on repeat. And I would also say go listen to the Locked On podcast. I know they were live for a little while too, so there's different energy over there. More of a fan podcast. Love those guys. So there will be that as well. But at the same time, Donald said something here that I wanted to talk about, and the reason why the defense was a big metric for NC State tonight. Said great game. Didn't realize it was 8+ minutes without a field goal at the very end, but can't complain about free basketball on a dub. So I'm going to go straight into things. Well, before we get things started, I want to remind our listeners, as always, visit our iTunes, Google Play Store, and Spotify. Give us a rating. Let people know that you enjoy the podcast, and subscribe. Get notifications on YouTube as well so that you can jump on with us each and every single time that we do one of these. Also, look, we've got a few people on here for YouTube, so do make sure that you hit the like button so that we can kind of drive up the ratings for this one as well, and get people over to our new YouTube page. That we've changed things over a little bit in the last month, so do make sure.
I just followed a new account on Twitter today.
I know. I was like, wait a minute, Miles just followed me. I thought it was my personal account. I was like, oh,
no, it was one of those that was just created during the John Wall, and it just got lost in translation. And I'm like, I haven't followed this account back yet. Let me do that. I followed it on Instagram right away, but
yeah. I can't believe anything got lost for you at the end of December. We won't talk about that. All right, so, but anyways, moving back to this game for NC State again. I want to talk about just individual guys here in a minute, but like the first half, you go back to Saturday's game. Will Wade talked about it over and over again. The fact that he wanted to get out to a hot start at home, wanted to kind of build some momentum, and you weren't able to do that at all at home. You kind of bring that energy over to Clemson. This is a team that averages 9.6 turnovers per game that they allow, and NC State was able to force 9 in the first half. This is a Clemson team that only allows teams to score 28.5 points in the first half per game, and NC State scored 38 points in the first half, nearly 10 points more than they average allowed in the first half. And that is what's led Clemson to be able to win a lot of these games early on in ACC play, go 6-0 before tonight. So just your thoughts on the first half and how NC State was able to create that momentum before you get to halftime here on the road.
I think they just stayed steady. If you kind of look back, they were able to consistently get shots early for McNeil and then kind of straight away from him. I think he probably had what, 70%, 80% of his offensive production in the first 10 minutes of the game. Yeah. So kind of established him early, and then they were able to capitalize on Clemson's mistakes down the stretch of that first half. Really before the under 4, they were able to go on a run, and I want to say, I don't remember who it was that got the N1, but it was heading into the break. I want to say it was Quadir Copeland, because there was a change in the foul call, missed the free throw, and allowed Clemson to kind of creep back into it at the half. I thought that was a moment that NC State lost this game. They would kind of regret that last stretch of the first half. They could have gotten it up to 15, 16, ended up letting it creep back to 5 at the half. But they didn't let that kind of linger into half 2 and came right back out with their foot on the gas and were able to kind of survive a Clemson counterpunch late.
Yeah, I was going to say, Chilton brought up a good point here saying, they were rattled by the defense, threw the ball away numerous times. I'd also say, this is a Clemson team that hasn't had a lot of pressure on it offensively. The defense has been so good throughout the season that a lot of times they're going into possessions not having to claw back, not having to come back from some of these games. You think back to even Miami over the weekend, Clemson was able to handle them throughout the game and open up a pretty big lead in the second half, ultimately winning by 10 points. So they're not playing a lot of offense this season where you're having to play catch up. And when they have, you saw the turnovers force NC State again, making the most out of those. I think it was 13 points off of the 9 turnovers in the first half, and then NC State finished with 19 points off of 13 turnovers forced in this game. Clemson with only 6 points off of turnovers. NC State's transition defense was really good in this too. They didn't allow them to just get easy buckets. NC State getting a lot of those points off of free throws because they were, smart possessions. You're not just driving straight down and trying to drive straight into a defender and potentially drawing a foul on yourself. They were letting up a little bit, getting good transition opportunities there, and then again being able to kind of finish with free throws and making those free throws, which is something going back to Georgia Tech they didn't do. 16 of 18 in the second half. NC State's offense was not very good in the second half. 7 of 20 overall shooting, but again, 16 of 18 from the free throw line is going to win you a lot. It puts you in a really good place. Just your thoughts on the second half, because it was a little more discombobulated for the offense, but again, the defense was able to kind of hold court in this one.
I don't know if this is like a proper way to describe a game, but it was rock fighty. It felt like in the second half, it was very much just two teams just walking forward and trying to land their best shot. And I think NC has been so many of these close games late that they've actually become a pretty good situational team and made timely plays late in the game. I know Darrion wasn't able to hit a really good look he was able to generate for himself for the game, but Clemson hasn't been in a ton of close games the last few weeks since the turn of the year. I know the Pitt game, it was kind of close late. Other than that, SMU, but their last 3 were all double-figure wins. So, and being fresh situationally does matter, and I think they were able to capitalize on that late. The timely plays on the defensive end show how this team can really set their tone physically, and I think that's something that they're going to have to do down the stretch. And I think Ven-Allen Lubin on the interior, what he was able to do, making whether Clemson scored or not, they had to really, really earn it every single time, and his presence was really, really, really important at both ends of the floor.
Yeah, and that was one thing I was going to say too. In overtime, him hitting those 2 critical free throws. I said it. I'm watching this and going, oh God, that's not the guy you want to pass it to, because
no, I said the exact same thing.
Free throw shooter for you overall, and actually 2 of 6 last game out. But he finishes in this game. I want to make sure I get 4 of 4 from the free throw line and hitting those 2 critical free throws at the very end. There also had a bucket in overtime, led NC State in scoring in the overtime period with 4 points in 5 minutes. He played all 5 minutes of that final quarter. But just again, kind of going back to, we've talked about it a little bit, NC State not having the size advantage down low. Obviously, that affects rebounding. NC State, ends up losing the rebounding battle in this one, 38-30 overall. But they're able to create opportunities for him down low. And that's something that they didn't really do the last time out. I know he missed a couple easy layups, but it just felt like they weren't able to feed him down low in the last game. And this time around, you really saw him make the most of those opportunities.
Yeah, he was finishing really, really well at the basket. The timely free throws were big, and he just has a pretty short memory. Like, he's just been through it all. He knows this league. Like, he's played so many different roles on these different teams.
This is his third year in the ACC with 3 different teams.
Yeah, so like he's good in terms of, like, he is completely comfortable messing up and getting right back. Like, he's just been in too many of these wars, too many experiences. So for him to just be consistent, thorough producer, both offensively and the glass, was really, really big. But yeah, no, there was a lot of things for him to continue to build on, but he's solidified himself as the feature big for this team, and he's one of the best bigs in the league. He's continuing to show that, and as his team continues to win games and rise through, he'll start to get that recognition too.
Yeah, a couple things here. Nathan said, amazing, came down from Asheville, the only game he gets to go to this year. So, I think that's probably making him a bigger fan of Will Wade, the fact that he's able to finally see a road win over Clemson. And then, as Chilton brought up here too, ACC is crazy. The FSU beat Miami tonight, a team that was previously undefeated before this weekend in Miami, and a team that NC State throttled on the road in FSU. So that makes that
how far that bumps FSU up if it bumps them up.
Exactly. And again, that helps NC State, maybe kind of push that into a little higher quad 2 and more solidify it as a quad 2 on the road. So that certainly helps too. And then as Pat points out here, a couple people have, the last state team to win at Clemson brought home an ACC title and
what a spelling.
Yeah, exactly. It's the house that DJ Horn built, right? So that certainly helps a little bit too. We'll see if that ends up becoming a thing for NC State. Other guy I wanted to point out here too, and I brought him up earlier, but Darrion Williams, we talked, obviously, look, the game on Saturday was not his best showing. 2 of 11 from the field for him. Again, this game, not an efficient game overall for him, 5 of 17, but made some shots down the stretch. The 3-pointer in overtime obviously was huge, getting that assist I believe it was the bucket to Ven-Allen Lubin, feeding him down low in overtime as well. And coming away with 3 assists, 0 turnovers in this game. And again, making all 4 of his free throws, 3 of 8 from 3-point range. You'll take that every day. Some of the inside shooting that you want to still fix a little bit. Taking a couple of those turnaround jumpers, that's something that he likes in his game. And Will Wade has said multiple times he wants to take out of his game, but can't seem to do that. So when they fall, it looks great. When they don't, it looks like an empty possession, and that's exactly what it is sometimes. But we talked about Ven-Allen Lubin, but Darrion Williams, what do you see from him that I think maybe can translate over and continue to make him this type of player that you're getting on the road, for the long haul for NC State?
He's so good at making the timely play, knowing when to get rid of the ball. He just can't make shots. He's really struggled shooting the ball, but it hasn't. Obviously the Georgia Tech game, but he's still able to be such a net positive despite going 5 of 17 from the floor. So he's proven over time what kind of player and shooter he is. Eventually, I feel like the percentages will eventually creep up at some point, but his ability to attract attention, know when to get rid of it. He made an unbelievable pass to Ven-Allen Lubin for a dunk, I believe, in overtime.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff at the rim, he's just got to try to dunk the ball. There was one right-handed layup that he had that was so shocking that he missed that. He was stunned that he missed that. That's one that he's got to go up and just try to dunk it. But yeah, he's such a smooth, confident player, such a calming presence, never frazzled. Sometimes I feel like that rubs people the wrong way, but that's exactly who he is. He's very calm, collected. And eventually he's going to pop off and he's going to go 13 of 17. That's going to happen.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing is I don't know. It's still
he shot it well from 3, shot it well from the line. It's just those shot selection on the 2s and then missing some gimmies. But we just listed 12 things that he did throughout the course of a game, and 10 of them were really good. He just missed some shots. He wasn't really taking bad ones either.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, well, I mean, there was a couple 3-pointers that I was like, you probably could have passed out of that and found a better opportunity. But yeah, the 2-pointers, the inside shots, it didn't feel like he took a lot of bad ones. It just, it did have the one turnaround, one step back, and neither one of them fell. And it's like, all right, maybe try to create for somebody else or get a better look there, or try to find a better look. But at the same time, like you said, I mean, I think part of it for him is like, I don't know that he's ever really gone through a stretch like this where,
no, I don't know if he has either.
And now I think it's about getting out of that, and hopefully games like this where you do so much more outside of that. I mean, 6 defensive rebounds in this game to create extra possessions, get you out in the, get you out in full court and get you more opportunities. Like those types of things are going to help the team win. Also, he only ended up with 1 steal, but I was pretty sure that there was another one that he nearly created. There was also a tip pass that he had that led to, I believe it was Matt Abel being able to get a steal. So there's a couple different things that, like, all right, if you go back and you look at the different things that he's doing, he's still helping the outcome of the game. It's just a matter of, again, being a more efficient scorer. And I think that's something that
and like the look that he generated for himself to try to take the lead late was a great look that he's typically going to make. So like, yeah, it'll happen for him, but you just hope that NC State can stay winning games during the stretch. Obviously, if he doesn't go 2 for 11 against Georgia Tech, they probably win that game. But he's going to be fine. He's a really, really good basketball player, and he's still a really good basketball player when the shots aren't even falling the way they should.
Yeah, and Pat, or actually, I'm trying to find the exact comment here. Yeah, so Chilton said, no Breed tonight, just bench tonight. No, actually, he was not benched tonight. He's healthy. And Wade talked about it post game, basically said, like, he was healthy and he was ready, and I really wanted to play him, but he put Matt out there first, and Matt gave them really good minutes. And I wanted to talk a little bit about Matt Abel, but also Terrence Arsenault and what they brought to NC State off the bench. Arsenault's numbers don't look great overall, but what he gave you defensively,
he was so good.
Yeah, he was really good defensively. And then Matt Abel, efficient night for him, 2 of 3 overall. Did miss the only shot that he missed. Somebody 6 points from him on, again, just 3 shots overall, 6 rebounds, 2 assists in this game, and one of those assists was a beautiful pass, I believe, down low to Darrion Williams. Or actually, no, I think it was to Ven-Allen Lubin. But again, like the minutes that you're getting from him, obviously you'd love to see it translate to at home, and you'd love to see the exact same thing for Darrion Williams at home. But man, the effort that you're getting from the 2 of them, and the increased minutes too. I mean, Terrence Arsenault, 13 minutes in this game, but Matt Abel, 22 minutes in this one. And again, I think I agree with him. I think it's just tough to put in, a smaller guard and Allen Breed over Matt Abel, given the length that he gives you, given the intensity that he's giving you on the defensive end of the floor too. 3 turnovers in this game, but like, again, he's eager and brings a lot of energy out the bench for NC State too.
I'm going to say, like, the motor switch has been consistently turned on for him in this one, and that was a huge, huge thing. When he's flying around the way that he is at his size and athleticism and the skill set he's able to bring to the table, his value is very, very obvious. And then back to Arsenault, and the shot hasn't even, again, like, he's going to have one of those games. He already has, but a few games where he gets really hot from the outside. And then Arsenault, like, just being great defensively, just super, super sound, switching onto multiple positions. Again, made timely plays at that end of the floor. So I think I have a feeling now that he's been consistently healthy, or at least healthier, we're going to see him start to pick up a little bit here from a minutes and production standpoint. Arsenault, that is.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I mean, I haven't had a chance to talk to you about it in a few weeks, but Terrence Arsenault for a while there was kind of on the make one, take one train that you like to talk about. If he makes the first one, then all right, you get to take another one. But it kind of feels like he's moving off of that recently. I mean, he's been as Jonathan just said here, I'd like to see TA shoot more. He's on fire from 3 right now. Yes, and I agree. I think, over the last several games, he's been a guy that's been consistently shooting well from 3-point range. Now, again, a lot of these he's taking are open looks that are created by other guys. But like, if he's knocking those down, and it's going to take pressure away from other guys and kind of take that towards Terrence Arsenault. And I feel like Just your thoughts. Is he kind of moving away from the make one, take one now, and maybe a guy that can shoot a little bit more?
That guy's he was a make one, take one guy for like
range. I mean, yes.
Yeah, he was a take one, make one, take another one guy for basically 6 weeks of his life. Like he's been a good shot maker his whole life. So I think for him, just settling into this new team, getting comfortable, getting healthy, identifying and embracing his role. Once all those boxes are checked, he's able to kind of settle in and make shots and just become the player that everyone thought he was going to be. He's starting to consistently show that more. Now, tonight was a big game. Even though the stat line was, I think he finished with 2 or 3 points. That's fine. His minutes were a bona fide positive for this group tonight.
Yeah, and Trey Holloman gets a start in this one, but finishes 1 of 6, 4 of 4 from the free throw line. So that certainly did help NC State. But a -7 overall. So if you're, maybe the one negative for NC State in this one was Trey Holloman, but at the same time, you've seen, I'm seeing Pat say here, Trey continued to get more minutes than Matt, Musa, and Terrence is killing me. I love the fight, but 1 of 6 on 28 minutes and the flow isn't there. Yeah, and I think they're also still trying to work him back from the injury. The shot just hasn't been as easy for him. I think the one, we took 4 3-pointers, but one of those was the air ball that I was talking about earlier. And that to me, I think is again, just trying to work him back and get him more consistent. The positive thing is you can have, he has a bad outcome and a lot of other guys, every other starter lifted him in this one for NC State. But again, the expectation is putting him in the starting lineup was to get you more offensive looks than you're getting with Allen Breed. But it was the exact opposite tonight. So just your thoughts on where things should move with Trey Holloman, because it does, again, he's been a really good offensive piece, but the last 2 games have been objectively bad for him.
Yeah, 100% a factor is him working back to injury. I think he should be moved to an off-the-bench role and kind of stagger the minutes with him and Q. I think Trey Holloman running the team as a backup point guard and then being able to play alongside of them in spot minutes with the starting lineup, maybe closing games. That's probably the move, just based on what his strengths are, how he fits in the lineup, because it's hard for him to be out there if he's not on the ball and the shot's not falling. We know he can create offense.
Oh, I lost you there.
For the next few weeks.
I lost you there. You say you know he can create offense and what?
I know he can create offense for himself and others in ball screens. So maybe having him come and get on the ball when Quidier's not in the game is what'll activate Trey Holloman as he kind of works himself back from the injury.
Yeah, I mean, and look, I'm not the head coach. I'm not somebody that's a decision maker for this team. But to me, it does feel like, if I'm trying to put somebody in this lineup, given what you've gotten recently, I may go with a Matt Abel in this situation. Just Terrence Arsenault also has an argument, but they've given a few more minutes here recently to Matt Abel. He's giving you more from a scoring standpoint. So if you're looking to inject more scoring into the starting lineup, not defense. I feel like Matt Abel's the way you should probably go there. I mean, a guy that gives you more size than Trey Holloman, somebody who's giving you better shooting overall.
And that's the other thing too, is defensively, if you go with 5 guys that are 6'6" or taller, it just gives you a different element, especially for a team that tries to switch everything. If you've noticed, when Holloman is in the game and they try to switch everything, it is more often than not he's switched onto a big and they try to exploit it. So, I do think that for him to get activated again, putting him on the ball in a backup spot is better than but again, they know this situation way better. They know that they need a guy that can guard point guards and play off the ball and catch and shoot. Trey Holloman checks both of those boxes. The shot hasn't been falling since he's come back, but again, kind of like Darrion Williams, like the guy's been in college for a long time and has made a lot of shots over a lot of games. He'll get
it's one of the things where you want him to play through it. And I think the fact that you could get that off the bench, but also have a guy like Matt Abel, I love what you get from Matt Abel from an offensive standpoint. And again, maybe not as good defensively or as long defensively as Terrence Arsenault, but the guy is bringing energy every single time you put him out there and these increased minutes. And it just does feel like at some point, we've talked about him, being destined to get into the starting lineup at some point. throughout the season. Went through a long stretch where he wasn't nearly as good as he's been here recently. But man, again, that was a really big moment for him in this one, especially going on the road in a tough, hostile environment. This isn't as hostile as some others, but this is much different than going on the road and playing at Boston College or going down to Tallahassee. This is actually his first big road atmosphere. I take that back, maybe Auburn, but that was really not a good showing for him at Auburn. So this is a big moment to actually have it translate. All right, last thing I wanted to talk about here before we head out of this, just how big of a win this is for NC State too, because we've talked about it all year long, and there's been all right, well, hey man, Boise State in a neutral court could eventually get to a quad one again. Couple others that you're all right, these could be really high quality quad two wins at home against VCU or some others, but you haven't had that kind of all right, this is going to be a quad one the rest of the way. You can bank on that. Winning on the road at Clemson, a top 30 team in the net right now, but also a team that's top 20 overall in the AP poll, will be top 75 by the end of the season. So this will be a quad one win on the road by the end of the year. How big is this for the resume and for just trying to wipe the slate clean from what's happened a couple times at home in recent weeks too?
This team has had probably 4 or 5 wins now that it almost feels like a signature win. This was a signature win. This was the one that they really, really needed. And you saw that from them late in the game, especially in overtime. You saw that level of desperation, we need this game. And I think that is what this fan base has been really yearning for from this team this year. I think the coaching staff has been the same. They have to be really, really happy with getting that result, especially on the immediate flip of losing the worst loss they'll probably have all season. So for them to bounce back that way and to do it that in such a close game, such an important thing for this team. Now they have 3 games you feel like you should win coming up in the next part of the schedule. If you can get through January at 7-2 in the league, that's a really, really, really good feeling. Even 6-3 is good, but 7-2 is really, really good positioning heading into February where the schedule starts to get tougher.
Yeah, and I mean, looking ahead at the schedule too, NC State goes on the road to Pittsburgh, will be a quad 2 game. At home against Syracuse, quad 2 game. To Wake Forest, which will be a quad 1 game. Wake Forest kind of teetering right now, could drop outside of the top 75 overall, but
they're getting blown out by SMU right now.
Great. Well, then the next game will be away to SMU. So that one, they may drop outside of the top 75. If they do, then that obviously hurts.
SMU is so trick or treat, but when they treat, they go for it.
Yeah, so going to SMU is not going to be easy. But I'm just looking at the rest of the way. Quad 1, quad 2, quad 2, quad 1, quad 1, quad 2, quad 1, quad 1, quad 1, quad 1, quad 2, quad 1, quad 2. Those are the rest of the way for NC State. And this one getting, again, that win over a team like Clemson on the road, it just helps you so much to kind of build towards what NC State's going to ultimately need to do. And we don't know exactly what's going to happen over the next week because NC State is about to have to fly out to Pittsburgh. Will Wade said if they had to figure out a way, he's like, look, man, I just played the last 2 years in the Southland Conference. If our guys have to bus home because we can't fly in, we'll find a way to get home and play on Tuesday too. So it's going to be an eventful couple of days as well, and not the easiest of roads because NC State.
I did that drive last year, by the way.
Yeah,
I drove down the East Coast in that snowstorm last year. So they need advice. They can call me or Mark Masercola. Shout out to American Airlines for making that one happen.
Yeah, exactly. And as Jonathan said, potentially NC State could go 3-0 in the next 3. I think they need to go 3-0. The toughest game, maybe Syracuse at home. But I mean, again, that could be a potentially tough turnaround there. If you have to end up busing back because you can't fly back in, NC State, then an even quicker turnaround having to play at home on Tuesday against a good Syracuse team. Right now, and the number 74, but obviously things have changed significantly for them. Getting their big man back, the name is eluding me right now. But they've changed a little bit in recent weeks too. So we'll do the research for that once we get a little closer to Syracuse. But right now, again, This was a monumental win for NC State on the resume, but also an ACC play too, getting to 4-2 overall. And, I think there was a lot of people that doubted that NC State could even do this on Saturday, especially a lot of people that we had on our podcast that day that were commenting. So
reminder, these are 22-year-old kids. The results are up and down.
Yeah.
Just stay the course. This team's a good team. They're going to play in the NCAA tournament. They'll probably win a couple games. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, that's the interesting part here too, is the fact that Donnie Freeman, as Jonathan pointed out, yes, getting Donnie Freeman back,
real player.
Game changer for Syracuse. And it's funny because hearing the media here tonight for Clemson, a lot of them kind of like, hey, is this an eye opener for this team? Is this kind of a wake up moment? It's like, guys, we just won 9 straight, like 6-0 in ACC. I think Clemson's still a pretty damn good team.
Clemson's really, really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
They very easily could have won this game tonight.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. Well, Miles, I think we'll head out of here. Any final comments before we roll out of this thing? Because I gotta drive ahead of me. So
I was about to say the only comment I have is drive safe and have fun with Charlie on the way home. See you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man. Well, thank you to everybody for listening. NC State again, an 80-76 win over Clemson on the road. Quad 1 win, one that they absolutely needed. Thank you to everybody for listening. We will talk to you guys again soon.